not very large, maybe can be pushed around a little bit. We don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. Everything's a wait and see game, right? With camp, but it's here and it's getting exciting. I just can't do it. I can't stop playing the opening music and the applause. How's everyone doing? Season 3, episode 14 of the Shawn Mackey Show. Wow, do we have a lot to unpack. We got to hit you with the 3 other draft choices that we didn't get to on the last episode. And I promised you them now. We hit you with Dylan Thieneman. We hit you with center Logan Jones. We hit you with tight end Sam Roush. And of course, Xavier Thomas. Since we last talked, we still got the Chicago Cubs. Had a really good road trip there. Took 2 out of 3 from the Pirates, 3 out of 4 from the Cardinals. That extra inning game could have swept. Was at the game on July 31st. July 30th. The extra inning win in the day game there, 4-2. We'll hit you with just zoom some photos up there, like 1, 2, and of the game. You ever get down to Bush, you ever get to St. Louis, hit that museum center that they got there. I'll have to dig out the name for you exactly. I don't know, it was free, but it was cool, right? At one point, you're walking over the highway. You can look down on the highway, not a big deal, but then it goes across over to the planetarium. So kids, interactive for the young kids, a lot of young kids. I'm going to tell you what, we were there with our kids, 23 and 20, right? And it was her birthday. The zoo got rained out on Friday, but it was cool. We did some hands-on stuff, but then the little kids running around, but the classes, a lot of STEM classes, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. It's some good stuff. I love all that kind of stuff. Took some photos. I'm going to hit you with some photos up there right quick here in the broadcast. But the Cubs 5-2 on that trip, come home, lose 2-0. Shota giving up 2 home runs. Still had a pretty good outing. And then yesterday they came from behind and beat the Yankees 5-2. So game in progress as I record. Let's do a little quick update, see what we've got in Cubby land. All right, ESPN app here. Update. Gosh dang it. Got to click through it. It's top of the third, 0-0. No outs. McMahon just singled to right. So we'll see how that game plays out for today. But I'm going to hit you with the last 3 draft choices of the Bears. One we're going to talk about later. Another already on the injured pup list. Not starting out really well for him. But all sorts of Bears news coming out with the opening of training camp. We've seen some really good things from the offense. Defense finally got their shit together. A lot of guys on that unavailable, that list, that injury report, that can't practice for whatever reason. I don't know what the deal is, but here we go. So Bears took Malik Muhammad, a cornerback out of Texas. He represents excellent depth, but he may get thrust up sooner, depending on how he plays. He can play both inside and outside corner really well. He's fast. 4.42 40 time. He's got really long arms, so that bodes well for the speed. Not only is going to get you close, but those long arms, you're going to be, bow, not in my house, baby, right? knocking those passes down, really good in the zone. Okay. Doesn't let his eyes wander. Not over here, not over there. He's not looking at the peripherals. He's got his focus on his zone. He knows what's coming in the zone, but that's also going to say, not focused on the peripherals, but that they're helping you focus on your zone. All right. Very slender kid. Big receivers are going to be able to knock this guy around. Going to have to get him at the meal table. He gets extra meals, get him in the weight room. So maybe got to work on his tackling a little bit as well. So that's Malik Muhammad out of Texas. We'll see where he goes and what the season looks like for him as we progress into the NFL season 2026. All right. And in the fifth round with the 166th pick, the Bears took a linebacker from Arizona State. Keyshaun Elliott is already on the pup list. What do they call it? I think he's got a back issue. He's on the active pup list, but kept him out of everything this week in the opening week of training camp. The 4 non-padded, starts out with the 4 non-padded team exercises, offense going against defense. It progresses into fully padded sessions and then a full-on training camp as we progress into the season. Another depth piece, Keyshaun Elliott, he was looked at as depth and a special teams guy. So he's very large. He's physically imposing. He's an inside linebacker, and he's got that motor, that competitive motor. He's just going and going and going. It's like the Energizer Bunny. If you put the Energizer Bunny on a football field and not while he was playing his drums, all right? And he's a run stopper. Boy, he gets downhill fast. Can fill the gaps. That's what you want out of your linebackers. So some of Keyshaun Elliott's weakness right now is his back. He's on the pup list. All right, very heavy-footed. That's tough. You got to be on the balls of your feet. You got to be able to move your feet. If you're heavy-footed, you don't got that explosiveness, right? His lateral agility, and we don't know how he's going to work out sideline to sideline just yet. That's one of his weaknesses. And in the 6th round, number 213 pick, the Bears take defensive tackle out of Georgia Tech, Jordan Vandenberg, and they traded up to get this guy. So they obviously think highly of him, and it's one of those things. You got to find your beasts on the interior, on the defensive interior. And in a perfect world, you want your 4 guys up front, your ends and your defensive tackles, to control everything. In a perfect world, you want them collapsing everything, sacking the quarterback, stopping the run. You really don't want to have to get into cornerbacks and linebackers and coverage and this and that and the other. And we know it's not absolutely possible. There's never been a front 4. I mean, there's been some dominant front 4s, but none that can control the game. You still need the other guys. That's where they are on the field for a reason. All right. But he's got Jordan Vandenberg's elite, athletic. He's very athletic. He's testing off the charts when they're asking him to do things of an athletic nature. And there's a difference. Offensive linemen don't necessarily need to be athletic. You just need to be, or defensive tackles, offensive linemen, defensive linemen. You just need to have brute strength to be able to get the job done. But when you possess some athleticism, like maybe a guy can catch, maybe a guy can throw, maybe before he got so big, he was a pitcher, a shortstop or a quarterback. Who knows, right? But he's got his hands hard to beat. Boom, he's able to use those hands, and he fits really good in a one gap defensive front in an aggressive. That's beasts. I like the beasts up front. If you got two guys who can occupy four of your offensive linemen, that opens the defense up to so much chaos. So those are your last three draft picks, the Chicago Bears. Malik Muhammad, Jordan Vandenberg, and Keyshaun Elliott. So that takes us into the action of opening of training camp, So offense dominates, I think, 3 out of 4 days. I know that a slender Caleb Williams comes into camp about 10 to 15 pounds lighter than last year. Better sleep, better diet. Hey, man, I wish I could do it. I'm getting fat. I'm sitting behind this desk. I'm getting fat. 2-3 years ago, I was like 235 pounds. I'm like 265 now. I got to do something different. Maybe I'll start doing a podcast while I'm working my resistance bands in the garage. Have my sweatband headband on. Nah, y'all probably don't want to see that. But I know Caleb Williams splits the defense. Tyreek Stevenson, Kobe Bryant hits Khalif Raymond for a 54-yard bomb. Tyreek Stevenson, you draft Malik Muhammad. Maybe Tyreek Stevenson's on the bubble. Last year of his rookie contract. Haven't heard anything about them picking up that 5th-year option yet. You're not going to lose much. That guy has got to step up his game. Have not been a fan of his. Let's see if he can convert me. All right. Caleb was also hitting some tight windows. Nice. Colston Loveland looked like he was in midseason form. One of Caleb Williams' favorite targets to open up camp. So that's good to see. Last episode, you got Loveland, you've got Komet, and you've got Roush now. And that 12, 13 personnel packages. And that's why I said Ben Johnson's a mad scientist, because I get to looking at this and I'm looking at these formations and I'm going to hit you with some, but very basic nature. I'm from an old school where we offensively, for most of the career I played until I was 30, which was like early 90s, or late 90s. But anyway, it was I formations. It was pro sets. It was your typical like 4-4, 4-3 defenses. It was 2 wide receivers, a tight end, 2 running backs type stuff. There wasn't all this innovation. And it boggles my mind that, and there's dudes out there in the football world, and I was not one of them as a coach. I wasn't ever going to design plays for you or formations. I just was the guy who was going to deliver them based on the positions I played and the positions I was coaching. I know how the positions worked. In any scheme, it didn't matter. Because let's face it, as a coach, most of the time you're just running drills anyway. You need more coaches so you can break up into smaller groups and run more drills. That's the bottom line. All right. So we'll get to that 12, 13 personnel. So having Colston Loveland in mid-season form is like awesome. Roma Dunze, Luther Burden III, explosive in the 4 days. That's awesome day to see. And then finally the defense is like, fuck, get your head out of your ass in the rain even. So that's good. The defense finally steps up, and that's soggy, and it's raining, and the conditions are not the greatest. They do start inside, but the defense finally breaking up passing, picking off Caleb Williams. It's good to see. That's training camp in a nutshell, right? Here's some info that's near and dear to my heart. Looks like we may have a competition at left tackle for the Chicago Bears. All right. Braxton Jones is still in this mix. And you know what? The guy's just got to be better than what I see because he's still there. I mean, I don't know. I watch every game. I follow them. I see him struggle a little bit here and there, but he's got to be putting up the best numbers over what they've been trying to do over the course of the last 2 or 3 seasons that they've had Braxton Jones on this roster. And he got most of the first team reps. Then Jedrick Willis Jr. got the starting nod with the first teamers on Saturday. And even Kieran Amagaje is in the mix as well. Good to see he's still around, local kid. But Braxton Jones, I guess, I mean, he's much better than I thought. I guess I don't know what it is and why. And, you know, you go back to a few episodes last season and the season before when I first started doing the show. I wasn't the biggest Braxton Jones fan. I thought they could do better, but Ozzie Trapillo's still out. Theo Benedette's kind of like he's been getting some work with the number 2s and the number 3s. So he's still kind of a project, a work in order. We'll see how this competition plays out as the days progress. A lot of injuries in the secondary. Defensively, man, they started rotating defensive reserves into the nickel slot. Cam Lewis was getting some reps, Jalen Jones, Josh Blackwell, and the newly drafted Malik Muhammad. Good time for those guys to step up and show what they can do. Unfortunately, it's because of injuries, but this is your time to shine, baby. This is where you put it all on the table and you ball out. Jalen Johnson, he's looking to step it up. He feels this is absolutely a contract year for him. He's got to prove his worth. Does he get it with the Bears? Does he get it with someone else? And then the Bears do want to lock up Darnell Wright to a long-term extension before the regular season kicks off. This is the tough part. This is the part we're going to have to get through together, folks. We can reach out to each other. Comment if you need a little virtual hug or some support or something, but where the hell has Kyle Monangai been? I know he's a young guy, and yes, life happens. We don't know. It's been undisclosed if there's an injury or if there's a personal reason. He's missed 3 straight practices. I hope everything's okay with him, with anybody in his family related. Don't know what's going on with that Kyle Monangai. Hope it's all right, brother. Hope everything's all right. My guy, Jack Sanborn. Oh, man, you know, I was so glad when they signed him, but right now we have an unknown issue. He did leave practice, like maybe sick or something. He didn't return. It was early when he left practice, too. Didn't return, so we don't have any new info on him just yet. I don't. It might be out there already. You got to realize the time we can do and get in the show, right? Montez Sweat, he got sick, but he's already returned to the field. That's good. Kyler Gordon, man, this is a big deal right here. I know, and everything went around, and Ben Johnson, and it was just like, get healthy. Now, there's a couple of ways you can tell a dude to get healthy. You could go up to him and say, hey, the important thing is you get healthy. Thinking about the person. Then there's that football coach way of like, get healthy or get out. You know? So when I saw the 2 words, Ben Johnson has 2 words for Kyler Gordon. But he does. He needs to get healthy. I mean, the one close to the 1 full season he had, he showed me some good things. I was not very high on Kyler Gordon at the beginning. I thought he was like Kyle Fuller all over again. But they found a role for him. And that's the one thing that coaches before Ben Johnson did was found an actual role that Kyler Gordon worked well in with the defense. So he does need to get healthy, because if they continue and work him in the shit that his strengths match to, he's great to see out there, and he's disruptive, and he's a great ball player. So we'll see how that plays out between not only him and his injuries, but him and Ben Johnson now. All right. You lost Tremaine Edmonds. Well, you didn't lose him. You just decided you weren't going to bring him back. And, you picked up the kid from Cleveland, I believe. And now TJ Edwards, he's got a calf injury, and he got hurt while training elsewhere in preparation for the season. Ozzy Trapillo's out. We know he's got that knee injury, long-term recovery. Noah Sewell, he's out, sideline, taken out for the whole week. Elijah Hicks, Keyshaun Elliott, we talked about, and Shamar Turner. So that's it. I mean, that kind of catches you up. Where we are in the Cubs seasons. I hit you with the rest of the draft picks. We're looking at the injury report so far. Some good things coming out of training camp all the way around, barring the injuries. But, the nice thing is next episode, we're going to have some recap action because of the Hall of Fame game. So, yeah. That's it. And don't forget, it's upcoming football season. Every week, the Bears, I'm going to take a look at statistically who was the best player on offense, who was the best player on defense. Or are we going to bring back champs and chumps? That's right, chumps of the game, champs of the game. Who did well? Who did? All right. So that's all the time I've got for this episode of the Shawn Mackey Show. I hope I see you whenever I see you. Peace.